Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace and blessings to everyone. Welcome to the Sajdah channel. This is our morning coffee talk. We're going to be talking today about surviving the shift, your own personal change management planning, and some other things that are on my mind. So with that, grab you some coffee. Be a friend and tell a friend. Let somebody know that we're live. Y'all know we got to make this go viral ourselves. Many of you don't get the notifications or they don't even send them out. We'll be back in a couple minutes after these few short commercials.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace be unto you. Welcome to the Sajdah channel. It is Friday morning, and this is our coffee talk. I hope you got you some coffee there. Let's we're going to talk today about managing through the shift and change management. But before we do that, let's just take a moment and close our eyes, settle down, and do a quick meditation. Come on. Deep breath and relax. And just sit there. Whatever energies, whatever thoughts, whatever feelings, whatever comes up, just let it flow. Don't do anything about it. Don't chase it. Don't talk to it. Don't defend it. Don't have a conversation in your mind. Just relax with the intention of relaxing. Don't fight. Don't push. Don't pull. Just relax. I'm going to take 10 more breaths. Just focus on your breath. Nice and slow. Focus on your breath. Just focus on your breath. And take this last deep breath and just slowly open your eyes. Come back to presence with us. There's a lot of change that's on the horizon. Y'all remember the Sam Cooke song, Change Gonna Come? It's interesting because in that song, Sam is talking about change, the desire for change, and incidents that happen. It's a very spiritual song, a very powerful song. And for us as a people, that's kind of been the extent of our change management strategies as individuals, as a community. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there in the starry sky. It's been a long, long, long time coming. Change gonna come. Change is here. It's at our doorstep. But what's important is, how do we deal with change? Are we just bunkering down and just putting our head down, prostrate into the ground and hoping that the change just blows over us? And that when we stand up and wake up, that it's a new world? Is that what we hope? Or are we going to take the information and the knowledge that we've been given and manage our way through the change? Those of you in corporate world, in the corporate world, you know about change management. There's change management programs. I've been on change management teams. Here's what that means. Let's say a company is being merged. Two companies are being merged. And so a change management team has been put together to determine what happens in the accounting department when the merge happens, and how do we prepare for the change, whether it's a system change, a process change, a management change, an environmental change, a location change. What happens in the marketing department? Who are our new stakeholders? How are we shifting? What is our new brand messaging? How are we managing this change? Because we've built this entire machine based on an old entity, old stakeholders, an old way of doing things. And now we're saying we're changing. What happens in human resources? Do our benefits change? Do our insurance change? Is our retirement changing? Is management structures collapsing? Are we having more managers or less managers? Or is there a whole new changing of the guard? How do we get to know these new people and still maintain the productivity of the company? See, the goal of change management in corporate is to make sure that we ensure the ongoing concern of the company, the business, or the entity. How do we make sure that there are systems and processes in place so that we can continue to survive and thrive through the change and afterwards? We should be thinking about that for ourselves. I was, for our series that we're working on with the team for the museum, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House, I've been interviewing a lot of pioneers. And one question that I've asked is, what was it like before the messenger's departure? And then what was your mindset during the change process and afterwards? And many of the answers, or the theme of the answers, is consistent. One sister described it as the twilight zone. She said right before, it just felt like you were in the twilight zone. People were going crazy and you weren't really sure why. People were being weird and you weren't sure why. People were saying weird things and you just didn't understand what was happening. And then once the change occurred, and then afterwards, they as an individual did not have a change management plan, or a plan that ensured the ongoing concern of their belief system or their family structures. Many families broke up. Many people just said, you know what, I can't believe in this anymore. I can't do it anymore. But the through line was that there was no spiritual plan. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is so amazing in giving us data and time to plan to the extent that we can. The challenge here is that there's so much that we can't call out, that we can't plan for. See, when we're doing change management in corporate, we kind of have an idea. Okay, we're going from this system to that system. What are the differences? What are some of the challenges? How do we deal with it? We're going from this stakeholder to that stakeholder. What are their expectations? What's important to them? We're going from this executive team to that executive team. What's the differences? What's gonna be the changes? How do we stay nimble as an organization so that on the other side of the change that we're surviving and thriving, right? In this case, we don't really have a lot of that. Um, and I'm certainly not putting myself in a position to be an authority to speak on it or manage the change. But I just want us to begin to think about how we hold on to our faith no matter what. Not by duress, like it's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. But because I don't know what's up there in the sky. Not that. Not like, okay, I don't know, so I got to just make it and hang in here, but I'm just going to barely survive. I'm talking about thriving with our families intact, with our minds intact, with our spirituality intact, with our faith intact, with our practice of our belief system intact, with understanding what we want and believe intact. See, many of us that have business infrastructures, if those business infrastructures can remain intact, can continue to be staples and pillars in the community, that means a lot for people's psyche. When we do, as our beloved minister talked about, we have the Day of Atonement coming up. And last year on the channel, we took those steps of atonement and applied them in our business so that they became policies and procedures in our HR manuals. Those steps of atonement, settling our differences. You see? So these atonement steps are really, really important, and they're a great way to practice your personal change management so that when a change comes, not if a change gonna come, when the change comes, okay, we can survive the shift. Survive meaning survive it spiritually and mentally. So we've been given all these tools, all these what I call change management tools. That's what I call them. That are in our arsenal that we can practice when change occurs in our lives. Also, having more empathy, even for our own children. See, something that happens for a lot of our babies is that they've been raised up in this and they know how we feel about some of their potential choices. And so they go quiet, they go dark, they don't talk to us. They maybe go off to school and start to get attracted to certain things in the world or certain people in the world. And the challenge is oftentimes they don't know how to get back. And so they stay out there. They stay out there living a lifestyle that they don't necessarily want to live, but they don't know how to come back. They don't know how to come back and face us. They don't know how to come back and deal with it. So we have to help them understand you can always come home. Because that's how Allah is. You can always come home. So come on back home. And we should be welcoming of people who want to come back home. See, oftentimes when people get ready to come back home, we like, I don't trust them because I don't know what they bringing up in the house. I don't know what they're going to do. But how do we keep our infrastructure intact if people are not allowed and welcome to come back home? See, Allah is so powerful that no matter where we are, no matter if we're on the bottom with our nose in the dirt, in the gutter, having done some of the wildest and crazy stuff, no matter where we are, we call on him. He listens, he answers, he's there. We take a step towards him, he comes at us flying. So who are we to close the door on one another when people start to sense the change and they start looking to come back to the fold. So at the same time of managing our own change, we have to be ambassadors. We have to show people the way. We have to endear them to the presence of God, which comes through those of us who claim to know him. He came to make himself known. And how else will he make himself known? But if we're closing the door on people going, get away, go away. But guess what? Sometimes we ourselves need to be reminded of the presence of God. And so seeing a person who we watched come back from the dead, literally, we can bear witness. And we are so blessed to be able to see the presence of God. When you start seeing a person waking up and you see them coming up out of the darkness, coming up out of death, coming into the light per se, it's a blessing. So in surviving this shift, let's not be so quick to close the door on our family, on our relatives. Let's not be so quick. Let's pray. See, well, here, let me say this first. Part of our fear of allowing people to come back home is because somehow deep down inside, maybe we're not sure whether or not we're right. Maybe deep down inside, we're afraid that something about their darkness is going to overcome us. Maybe somewhere deep down inside, there's some spookism that's saying that the devil has more power than God. But see, if you are Allah, if Allah is flowing through you and that love is in you, and I don't know whose word this is, that light is in you and you shine, there's nothing that can defeat that. There's nothing that can defeat you. Your light should be so bright. My light should be so bright that it should dwarf darkness. It should light a path in front of darkness that darkness is either going to run away or transform. Light, love, the word. We should have so much faith in it. We should have so much confidence in it. Not because we're separate from it and we have to go, okay, I believe in that over there. No, because we are it. We are the word. We are the supreme wisdom. We are who we are. And if I'm confident in who I am, if I've accepted my own and I am myself and I love myself, then I got confidence in myself. Then when I step into a space, I own the atmosphere. And it doesn't even matter what darkness is in there. It doesn't matter if there's a hater in the room. It doesn't matter if there's a hypocrite in the room. It doesn't matter if there's an agent in the room. It doesn't matter who you are, because my light is so bright that I'm going to shine light on your darkness no matter who you are. So you shouldn't be afraid of somebody coming back home. This is part of our sustainability, our change management program. We are blessed that our beloved teachers have traveled the world and made friends for us in all walks of life. Some of those friends look like us, some of them don't. Some of them are people that maybe we used to soldier with and now we don't. we can't tell Allah where to place his message. So as we're navigating through this twilight zone that the pioneers have been telling me they could feel before the departure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they feel it now. They feel the twilight zone. As we navigate, let's make sure that we're leading with love, because one of the things that we have that they didn't necessarily have is we got a lot of tools. We got a whole change management program, just like they do in corporate. A change gonna come, we ready. We ready for it. We're ready to maintain the foundation and the ongoing concern of our faith and our nation and our organization. And in maintaining that foundation, we are able to lift up the beautiful word and the beautiful teachings. And so no matter what, the light shines bright. And so we ask Allah to use us to make his presence known, to give us his light, his power, so that we shine the light on every situation we go into. We're not hunkered down on the ground with our head on the floor and our arms over like they taught us during disaster training in school, waiting to see for the tornado to go over us, and then we wake up and say, everybody okay? No, we're navigating, we're planning, we're strategizing. We got our survival kits, we got our food in our houses, we got our holy Qur'ans, we got our supreme wisdom. We're praying, we're tuning in, we're atoning, we're settling our differences, we're loving one another, so that when the change comes, we got each other. So when you have a weak moment, I'm there to shine light on it. When I have a weak moment and maybe I feel like, oh, I got to take a knee, this is hard, you're there to lift me up, to put your arms around me, lift me up and say, let's go, soldier. Let's go. Some of us are going to die. Some of us are going to die off. We're going to lose some of us, but we're going to gain so many more. There's so many that Allah has prepared to support us, to help us, to be there for us, to love us. We're at a point now where God's spirit is so strong that you can just walk down the street and people will see you with that spirit on you and come to embrace you. Change management. We've been given our change management tools. And those of you who know change management in corporate, it's all about managing the internal infrastructure of the life of the company so that the ongoing concern and profitability of the business is intact and sustained. Well, we want to manage to make sure that our faith and our abundance, our cohesiveness, our love is intact and continues to produce. In fact, about it, the reason why the merger may have taken place in the first place is so that more revenue can be generated. Well, okay, the reason why this spiritual change is occurring is so that we can get closer and closer to God. That's our profitability, so we can line up more with him. But it starts with us utilizing these change management tools that Allah has been giving us, right? Since the minister stood back up. Study guides, atonement. He constantly is telling us, settle our differences. And let me tell you one way that makes it so easy to settle differences. When you focus and you're so busy focusing on yourself and your internal development and trying to figure out who you need to be so that you can step into your own authentic calling and what you came here to serve God to do, that you don't really care. And I could care less about something that happened 30 years ago, 10 days ago, 15 days ago. It don't even matter. Somebody walked up to me and apologized to me. I don't even know what they was talking about. And I wanted to say, I don't even know what you're talking about, nor do I care. But I didn't. I listened. I accepted their apology. I let all that go. Settle your differences. You don't want to be 100 years from now still fighting with your brother or your sister over land. It's what we see going on in the Middle East. You see two people that look exactly alike, that live next door to each other, that are actually brothers, they family, but they fighting and killing one another. That is a mistake we don't want to make. And I'm sorry if that offends people, but that's the truth. We don't want to be those neighboring tribes, right? That were once one tribe that split into two tribes, now fighting and killing with one another. Settle our differences. Let's figure out what we got to do to align with our purpose, with our calling, and make sure that whatever it is that you are doing is backed by something greater than yourself. See, because if our intellect and our mind could do it, we'd have did it already. We'd have done it already. So there's a power greater than us that we have to rely on. And we have to work on our change management. Start within your own family. Start with your own loved ones that you have differences with. Before you go down the street and try to make up with sister so-and-so or brother so-and-so or whatever, start within your own family. And then start within your inner circle. How do you strengthen the bond? I have friends, brothers and sisters and family that are connected to me, that I'm so connected into them that I could tell you what's going on with them, if they got a problem, if they need anything. That's how we got to be. Show up like Allah, giving your sister, your brother what they need, and they didn't even have to ask you for it. They didn't even know that they needed it. Settle. Let's fall back in love with one another again. Let's be communal. We got to spend time with one another. Again, I keep going. We all walking around like these rugged individuals. Make time. Just like in a relationship, you have to make date night. Make time with your friends. Make time with your family. Make time with your parents, your children. And if your children fade, because falling is interesting, right? Think about this. Everybody here has fallen down physically at one point. And there's a point when you slip or you fall down the stairs or however you're falling, you trip over the curb or whatever. There's a point where you know and you realize you're losing control and you can't do anything about it, right? So you slipped on the ice and you're losing control and there's nothing you can do about it. And then you kind of, for a split second, you lose consciousness. Think about it. You lose consciousness and it comes back to you when you hit the ground. And then when you hit the ground, you're assessing, you're trying to see, did I break my leg? Did I mess my knee up? What's going on with my hip? Is my back messed up? Like what's happening? And a lot of times you don't know the extent of your injuries until you try to get back up and walk. That same physical falling process is what happens to us spiritually when we fall. See, sometimes that fall is in slow motion and we don't even know we're falling. It's just degree by degree by degree. This little thing and that little thing and that little thing and that little thing. Next thing you know, you're on the ground. And now you look around, you see yourself on the ground, you go to get up, you're like, my ankle. And I hurt my ankle. So somebody got to come help you get up. You got to go to the doctor. You got to get some help. When we're falling, we don't know we're falling. Just little things. Might be diet deviations. Might be watching certain things on television that start to slowly acclimate you. Well, that's happening with our children each and every day. They're bombarded with information that is causing a slow fall. And a lot of times when they get of age, they want to exercise their will and they start bucking up. And then we start responding a certain way because we're questioning our parenting. We feel offended. Their success has become how we identify ourselves. There's all these emotions. And so we go, all right, I'm done. And what I'm saying to you is that leave the door open. Leave the door open. Leave the door open. Because what happens with a lot of our babies is that when they fall or they get out there in the world and they realize, uh-oh, I really wasn't prepared for this. And this was made by people who've been struggling all their lives. And I've been over here, honeycombed in the mosque and, and I thought I could handle this, but I was just playing. Let me get back. They don't know how to get back. They don't know how to face us because we're so hurt. And so they don't know what to do. Some of them get so depressed and so sad that they don't want to be here anymore. Some of them just go into a depression and they're just stuck. They don't know what to do. Sometimes they'll just, stay in the lifestyle even though they don't want to be there, but they don't believe that they could ever come back. And so we have to reach for our babies and give them an opportunity to come back. But even before it happens, teach them it's okay to come back and teach them how to come back. I'll tell you one thing. When I was blessed to teach MGT and GCC orientation way back in the day, one thing that I would talk to the sisters about, and I tried my best to transfer to them such a strong love for God and Allah that remained their lifeline no matter what was happening. No matter what your husband did, your parents said, no matter what happened around you, if it was somebody in the mosque who couldn't stand you, if it was a bad captain, whoever, if you work in a job and the job got a problem with you, but that love for Allah, keeping that as I'm thinking of how there's a ship traveling and keeping that as your lighthouse. That's what I'm thinking of. So you can always find your way back. And find your way back to Him. And don't worry about what nobody else is saying about you. If they still live it in the past and want to keep bringing up your past, that's their business. That's their problem. They're not on their job because, see, our job is to teach and train the uncivilized, to help Allah make His presence known. And each and every one of us that are called have a message. And He don't usually change His messenger. So that message is still up inside of that person, whatever the intentions were for their birth into this form of spirituality. Listen, I don't know, I don't know why I'm talking about this today, but I'm saying to all of us, a change is coming. Get back home while you can. Get back home in your spirit. If you're saying, look, physically, I don't think I can do it, then you better get back home right here in the heart and get back home here. Get on your studies, get on your dietary plan, settle your difference. We got a Day of Atonement coming up. We got the atonement process. Make sure that you are getting yourself back home. Because until you start practicing, you won't know the extent of your injuries. Until you get up and start walking upright again or attempting to walk upright again, you don't know the extent of your injuries and how bad of a fall you had. Again, when you fall physically, you don't really know how hurt you are until you get up and try to stand up and keep going. If you're playing in a game and you get hit and you fall and you hurt yourself, you don't really know the extent of your injuries until you try to play the game again. So get up and stand up and try to practice again so that your subconscious mind will rise up to meet you and give you the healing that you need so that you can stand upright again. And this is for all of us. Because you can't assess your injuries until you try to get back in the game. And there's many reasons why some people are still in a certain space physically, but they've fallen emotionally or mentally. Well, strive to get back. Strive to get back. And in that striving, you're going to identify your pain points. You're going to identify your injuries. You're going to understand where you're hurting and where you're in pain, where you're limping. You're going to see it. And now you can work on it. And you can get yourself back. If you know you and falling comes in different forms. Some people fall out, fall away. Some people just start lying. Just become big ass liars. And they say, oh yeah, but I'm still a Christian. I'm still a Muslim. No, you done failed because you're lying. All the time. Habitual liar. You tell so many lies that it's just one lie after another after another. Well, try to stop lying. And when you try to stop, then you will be able to assess the damage that you've done to yourself from all this lying or whatever it is that you're doing. But get back in the privacy of your own home. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't want to do this out in public, get back on your diet. See, when you get off your diet and you find yourself 40, 50 pounds overweight, because you've been cutting up with the food, you ain't been exercising. Again, you don't know the extent of the damage until you start trying to lose the weight. So let's start there. Let's start with the dietary program. There's too many of us out here with diabetes and high blood pressure. Let's go, y'all. Let's get back in our How to Eat to Live books. Let's get back. And trust me, when you're doing these things in conjunction with your prayers and your striving and your positive attitude, Allah will come for you. He will help you. He will do what you need inside of you to heal. So let's get back. If you got something you do in private that maybe nobody knows about, but you've been able to hide it, work on that. Stop it. Stop it. If you sneaking and dipping off and doing something every 3-4 months, work on stopping, because that fall is going to cause injuries to your spirituality that you cannot assess until you stop and start to try to get up and walk upright again. Some of us got little stuff that we know we're doing. Work on that in the privacy of your own self, in the privacy of your own home. Keep company with other people that are going to remind you that you can't be doing that are going to help you break those habits. This is how we survive the shift. This is our change management plan, our change management program. Maybe you're not ready to dive back into reading the Holy Quran once a week. Maybe you just are like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I can't read the whole Bible every week. I'm not ready. But you can stop cursing. You can stop smoking. You can stop talking about people. You can stop slandering and gossiping people. You can stop dipping off with that person you dipping off with every quarter, every month, every other night, however you're doing it. You can stop. You can work on those things. Allah is with you. He always leaves the door open for you to come back home. Always. You can come back home. You can get back. You can stop doing whatever it is that you're doing. You can make a change right there within your own personal life. Make that change, because there's a message inside of you that is coded in your DNA that Allah put in you. It's why you're here. He didn't take the message out. It's still there. So get back to yourself so that you can open up and hear that message. Some of you are just saying, well, I don't really do anything. I'm pretty boring. I don't have all that, Sister Sajdah. Some of us are just negative. We're just mean, evil. You know whatever it is that you need to do to get yourself back on point. Maybe you ain't ready to let it be public. But go inside yourself. Find one thing that you know you need to fix and ask Allah to help you fix it. Help me, Allah. Help me fix that. Shine some light on this for me, Allah. Help me fix inside of myself what is stopping me from allowing you to flow through me. Shine light on what I need to work on, Allah, to help me become a better servant for you. Shine light on where I need to improve so that I can be the person that embodies the message that you placed in me when you decided to come through this body into this world and this time and space reality. Help me be better. Help me to improve. What relationships do I need to fix? Help me. And in that, I'm going to stay close to you, Allah. And I encourage each and every one of you, have a conversation. Some of us have messed up so much that we don't believe that Allah loves us anymore. Just stop and say, Allah, I know I messed up. I've been doing such and such for so long, or whatever it is. And I don't know if you will forgive me. I don't know if you'll love me, but can you give me a demonstration? Can you show me in my life? Give me a sign that you're here. I'm weak right now. Give me a sign that you're here to help me. So any of you who are out here, and if you can't face your parents, Muslim children, teenagers, nation babies, if you're out here and you can't face your parents because you've been doing some stuff that you know is wrong, turn to Allah. You can always go back home to Allah. Find your way back to Allah. You don't got to tell nobody. You don't have to tell your parents. Start within. You got the teachings inside of you. Start working on your diet. Start working on your lifestyle and your behaviors. Things that maybe you found attractive in the world and that you had fun doing for a minute, but you're like, whoa, I got to get back. But I don't know how to look mama in the face. My mama's a lieutenant. My mama's a deacon. My daddy's a preacher. He's a minister, whatever, a laborer. I don't know what to do. Go back home to Allah first. Go back home to Allah. You can always go back home to Allah. You don't have to be depressed. You don't have to not want to be here anymore. Go back home to Allah. His door is always open. Start right there and then submit and allow him to guide you. All right. Let's see. We got some questions or no comments. Okay. I see y'all. All right. I see you, Brother Lamont. Welcome. Welcome. Good morning. Wa alaikum salam. Happy Friday. Sister Betty says happy Friday. Sister Dawn, wa alaikum salam, sis. Sister Monica, wa alaikum salam, sis. Sister Betty said, amen. Sister Christine said, wa alaikum salam, family. Sister Monica says, what a beautiful and humbling communication on receiving who we see as the wayward. This speaks volumes, Sister Sajdah. All praises due to Allah. Yeah. Let's stop judging people. Let's stop judging people because look, listen. Let me say this. Sister Alita had the bullseyes. Greeting, regional sky girl. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Listen, y'all. See, being in a position where you need help, okay, can be a position, and the message of needing help and that prayer for help can be the prayer or the act that changes the world. Think about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad praying for a little helper. I don't know how he was feeling in his spirit, or I mean, we could speculate using his words, but in terms of just that feeling in his heart and why he prayed for a little helper that Allah sent to him in 1955. That prayer, that desire to do something or accomplish something, the divinity in that caused a prayer to go out that Allah answered, has changed the world. So you don't know what your prayer is doing for somebody else and what it will do for somebody else. Maybe your fall, son, daughter, was necessary because I covered you, I coveted you, I protected you, I put you in a certain space so that you never had to see anything, you never had to struggle. I covered you. I wrapped you up. You was like the little baby kangaroo living in my pouch. I never really let you get exposed. So maybe, just maybe, to test your faith and to test the tools of my training as you were growing up, our sacrifices as we were grooming and guiding you, maybe you needed to fall so that you know what it's like, so that you wouldn't judge and label somebody else as wayward or hypocrite or a former believer or used to be or whatever baby language we use in reference to the massive spiritual journey that we're all on. Maybe, just maybe, your baby's fall was necessary to make some changes in you and to make them stronger. And so what I'm saying to the babies who are out here slipping and sliding and attracted to certain aspects of this world, you can come back home. You can come back home. And if your mama won't take you, if your daddy won't take you, Allah will always take you. So you go to Allah first. And you have that conversation with Allah first. And you and now that you've fallen, you stand up and start figuring out, how do I walk upright? And now you can assess your injuries and you can figure out what you need to focus on. All right. I got one video that I want to show us. I was going to show it a long time ago. I'm going to show it and then we're going to get out of here. It's just a couple minutes, just something to motivate us for the week, to help us, weekend, I should say, and to help us with standing back up, with working on ourselves, with getting closer to God and creating that change management process within ourselves. I'll be right back.
There is nothing as powerful as a changed mind. You can change your hair, your clothing, your address, your spouse, your residence. But if you don't change your mind, the same experience will perpetuate itself over and over again, because everything outwardly changed, but nothing inwardly changed.
If you want something out of life, if you want to change yourself, if you want to acquire something, if there's some goal that you want to reach, changing your behaviors, overcoming negative habits, it's challenging. It's hard. Most people go through life never discovering what their talents are. Most people never develop their talents.
The only thing that's going to make you happy, my friend, in this year or any other, is to step up. It's to raise the standard. It's to discover what you're capable of and feel that incredible power of pushing through whatever's holding you back and get to the other side of more of your true self. That's what this game's all about.
When you step into your fears and continue to push yourself to go on, something happens for you.
If you look at somebody who's really successful, you think, wow, I mean, they're so amazing, they're such a genius. You gotta dig underneath and you gotta remember something. People are rewarded in public for what they've practiced for years in private.
If you don't develop the courage to do that which has been given you to do, and you spend a lot of time going around trying to convince other people or trying to get their approval, what will happen is that you will lose your nerve. And other people will convince you that what you're doing doesn't have any value, and you'll give up on your dream. How much time do you have left? How much time do you have left? When you start thinking about that, we don't know. Most of us don't use the stuff that we have brought into the universe. Stop wasting valuable time. If you want something, you have got to be relentless. You've got to learn how to become resourceful. You've got to learn how to become creative. The power to hold on in spite of everything, the power to endure. This is the winner's quality. The hunger, the ability to face defeat again and again without giving up. This is a winner's quality. What this power is, I cannot say. All I know is that it exists, and it becomes available only when a man or a woman is in that state of mind in which he or she knows exactly what he or she wants and is fully determined not to quit until they find it. There's greatness in you, and you've got to learn how to tune out the critics outside and the critic inside. So I'm going to harness my will, and I'm not going to let anything stop me. I deserve this. Most people give up on themselves easily. You know the human spirit is powerful. There's nothing as powerful. It's hard to kill the human spirit. You are unstoppable. Live your life with passion, with some drive. Most of us go through life with our brakes on, holding back. Decide that you're going to push yourself. You got to focus on you. And as you convince you, as you sell yourself every day, you will begin to see a difference in the things that you're doing. Selling yourself on your ability to perform a job, to achieve a certain objective. Telling yourself every day, here I go again. And I got what it takes. This is my day, and nothing out here is going to stop me.